Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to episode 13 of Blackhawks Banter. Our crew is here every Monday night, the Hockey Writers Live YouTube channel, and you can also catch us on Facebook. You can catch our articles at thehockeywriters.com. Don't forget to subscribe, like, follow accordingly so you don't miss a thing. We have our usual crew here tonight. We've got Brooke LoFurno, Greg Boysen, Shaun Filippelli, and I am Gail Kauchak. So how is everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Doing good.
We're all celebrating a win here after a few losses. Last week, there was 4 games for the Chicago Blackhawks, and 4 hockey games since last Monday. Back-to-back set with the Nashville Predators, where the Hawks lost 3-2 on Tuesday, and then in a shootout 2-1 on Wednesday. Lost again to the Columbus Blue Jackets on Friday 2-1. And wouldn't you know it, with a completely depleted lineup, they won 3-1 on Sunday night. So it's just crazy. I say depleted lineup because, as you probably all know, the COVID protocol has got 5 players out for the Blackhawks right now. Alex DeBrincat, defenseman Adam Boquist. You have 2 depth forwards with Lucas Wallmark and Ryan Carpenter, and then also defenseman Nicholas Bodine. So there's been lots of losing, but it seems like they're headed in the right direction, because even with a depleted lineup, they won a game. So we've got that going for us. What do you guys think of any thoughts about these past 4 games and where the Blackhawks are at this point?
I think. Oh, go ahead, Shaun.
I was just going to say surprised they've been able to sort of pull out some of what they've done here. The only thing I'll touch on based on the Nashville series, we all know that they're a rival, but I don't know about you guys, but that's one team probably of all the rest that I just hate losing to. So the fact that those were as close as they were in winnable games was a hard pill to swallow. So nice to see them battle back and sort of fight through that Columbus series, but not happy letting the Predators get those points.
I just add that I think the biggest takeaway from this past week is it's good to see these younger kids, these guys that are being increased playing time because of the COVID and the injuries, step up and perform. That's huge. That's what this season should be all about, is finding out who you want to keep around for the foreseeable future.
Yes, that Nashville series, I'm not gonna lie, really pissed me off, because I felt like those were very winnable games. Nashville, I don't think is good at all, and for some reason we just don't do well against them. I don't know what it is, but we just don't. And Columbus, thankfully, was a little redemption. I mean, that sucked to lose the first game because our chances were there, but at least we split the series. So, I mean, so it's good to kind of leave the week on a high note.
You're right. It is tough to lose to the Predators. I gotta say, the Pecorino thing. Well, we've got a couple more chances that Blackhawks do to beat them. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so let's get into some of our topics here. Last week we talked about which rookie impressed us the most, which we could totally talk about it again, and I'm sure we'll get into some more of that as we go here. But to start us off, I'd like to touch on the veterans, and which veteran have you been most impressed with so far this season, and why? And let's go ahead and start with Shaun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to sound like I'm going back on something I said prior to the season here, and that's okay. I'll swallow my words. But, as quick as I was to critique this player going into the season, I have to give credit where it's due. We expected to see a decline through Keith's play, but I really got to give him credit here. He's still being relied upon, whether I agree with that strategy or not, to a degree where he's still showing up and putting his body out there in all positions. The fact that he's still averaging over 23 minutes of ice time a night. This is a 37-year-old man. People forget this is a 37-year-old grown man playing against mostly 20-something-year-old kids, and he keeps up. I mean, we see some of that slow down and we see some of those blunders, but we have to realize and put things into perspective. And again, as much as I wish that Colliton would just push the youth narrative full-fledged here, the reality is I just have to give credit to Keith for keeping up and for doing what he's doing. He's already got 5 points through the season thus far through 10 games, small sample size, but still on pace for more than he was able to accomplish last year. Again, playing through all scenarios. I just think that he deserves credit here for where he's at in his career and what he's still able to do night in and night out.
and he's put in all situations too, and he's being put in some of the most difficult spots on the ice. So of course you're going to see those blunders, but somebody else might even be way worse with that. So yeah, you're right. It's you take him for granted almost.
Yep.
Brooke, how about you? Who have you been impressed with?
What's funny is when I saw this question, I was like, I had to think about this for a second because our rookies to me have stood out to me more than our veterans have, which is I did not expect. But the first one that came to my mind was Connor Murphy. Can I call him a veteran? I know he's not like older like Keith, but he's been in the league.
I picked him too, so I think that we can call him a veteran.
That just goes to show how much of a veteran Keith is, because he's definitely a veteran.
Yeah, but yeah, my pick is Connor Murphy. I mean, I think he's proven that he's the model of consistency on this team. He's not always perfect. He does make mistakes, but he is reliable, and that's really important for this team. And he had a 4-game point streak recently, and I think he's trying to be the leading goal scorer on this team. So we'll see if that works out for him. But yeah, he's the one that impresses me every night because he has shown he is so reliable.
All right. How about you, Greg? Veteran most impressed with?
I was originally going to talk about Murphy, but I figured somebody else was going to pick him up because he deserves the props. He's as solid as they get when it comes to stay-at-home defenders. So I'm going to go with Ryan Carpenter. Before he put on the dreaded 19 jersey and had to go into COVID protocol. I was a big fan of that pickup last year. He's that type of guy that, the Swiss Army knife type player. You can plug him in anywhere, plays good defense, been huge on the penalty kill this year. Is that physical, grindy energy guy that you need. He's the perfect guy for a team that wants to make a deep playoff run. So that's something to think about as we get closer to the deadline. And as much as I like him, he could be a valuable asset as we try to build. I saw that eye roll. As we try to build, we need assets, Gail. We need assets. So
I know. You hate to lose these players that you talk about.
I do, yeah. But he's been impressive. In fact, I think before he had to leave the lineup, I want to say he was tied for 3rd or 4th with shots on goal, which I don't know if is a good thing or a bad thing. But he's stepping up, and he's a fun player to watch because the guy would skate through a brick wall if you ask him to. So that's my veteran props.
And he's got a great nickname, Carpy.
He's got the flow going. Gotta like the guy.
Got the flow going, right? All right, Carpenter. All right, I'll just real quick. I alluded to already that I chose Murphy as well, Connor Murphy, and Brooke. He is actually been with the team for 4 years, and he's 27 years old. So I don't know if you'd really call that a veteran, but considering the fact that most of the Blackhawks players are 19, 20, 22. He's going to be the veteran, at least since in this lineup. And I guess what I could add is that to you is that he's had 2 goals and 3 assists, 5 points. That leads all defensemen. You mentioned, Shaun, that Keith also has 5 points. Those have all been assists. So Murphy, and he did that last year too, where he was kind of had that shot from the point where he got some goals. So let's hope to see some more of those. And also the last thing I'd like to mention about him is that he was awarded the alternate captain. He wears the A on his sweater for, is it home games or away games?
Away, I think, right?
He's for away games, and then Andrew Shaw has it for home games. So they're going back and forth with that. So obviously the Blackhawks feel that he is a leader as well. So hopefully he can add to that. So anyway, let's move on to, we can't not talk about Kevin Lankinen because obviously he is really hot right now. Last week we sat here and we talked about how we all think that, okay, Lankinen's doing really great, but we haven't seen enough of the other goaltenders and we should have them, it's been too small of a sample size. And so we should keep up that rotation. How do we feel about that this week? Do you think that Lankinen should be the undisputed starting goalie based upon this start that he's had? Brooke, what do you think?
I actually have mixed feelings about that. I want to say yes and no. Yes, because obviously he's been hot lately and you have to go with your hot goalie, but I don't know. I don't know if it's been too short still or not, or if we still need to see more of Subban. I don't know, but I'm kind of mixed on that right now. I feel like we still need to see that, but I wouldn't mind sticking with Lankinen throughout this streak because he has been really hot and that's been really nice for us. So I'm kind of mixed right now, actually, which is kind of weird.
So you would probably stick with him until if he loses.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, Greg, what do you have to add?
I'm shocked that our little goaltending controversy kind of figured itself out before we even hit the month of February. He's the best goaltender we got, so you play your best guy. I put this up on Twitter during yesterday's game. The biggest difference between Lankinen and the two other guys, Subban and Delia, is his calmness and his just positioning and movement in the crease. Nothing seems to be. He's always in the right place. And whereas Subban and Delia, when they do make those big stops, there's so much movement involved, and it just seems like they're fighting the puck off. And I've learned from my scouting days, I'm not the biggest goalie scout because I never played the position. So Sean, you could probably talk a little bit more about that, but I just know the more you move to make a save, the more goals you're eventually going to allow. You want quick, compact movements, and that's what you see in Lankinen. And everything is just so quick. He's in the right positions, and he's just so fluid, and he's just got this presence about him that he knows he belongs there. Leave him there. I'm not saying this is going to be the next 10-time Vezina Trophy winner goaltender, but he's the best goalie you got this season. Give him the majority of the starts, and then maybe you have that position solved heading into next year.
All right, Sean, what do you have to add?
Yeah, I mean, you touched on it already, Gail. You alluded to it, that we all sort of collectively have agreed in recent weeks to let these guys all have their turns, split these starts, see what we got. And there's an argument there, but the reality is it's sort of hard to argue with not letting Lankinen have the net at this point. I know it's early, like Greg said, before February, they sort of figured it out here, but the point in them sharing the net was going to be to let them all develop and see what's there, but we've now seen what's there, and we've seen it rather quickly. So, to me, if he's going to be the go-to guy, which he's clearly proving to be, then let him take over now. I don't see why we would wait. I mean, I know, I still sort of to Brooke's point, I still would like to see Delia and Subban get into the net just to sort of let them develop a little further, maybe see what value we can extract out of those players. But the reality is this is Lankin's net, and I don't think it should be given to anybody else at this point other than the odd start here and there. But as far as split starts go, that should be out of the question. This is Lankin's net.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think you should stick with the hot hand. It's a compressed schedule and there's back-to-backs, so the other two are going to get in there here and there. But stick with the hot hand. Give Lankinen the majority until he starts to struggle. That could happen, but at this point, I don't see it. You just see him getting better. Which is good for him and it's good for the Blackhawks. Just to throw, I did actually write down a few stats before we came. In the last 5 starts, goals against average 1.97, which is second in the league. Save percentage 0.937, first in the league. Goals saved above average, 6.18, first in the league. He's hot. He's hot right now. So it makes sense to go with him. And they've what are the last 6 of the 7 games they've had Lankinen in net. So this is what they're doing, which is kind of fun and cool. Like you said, they've got it figured out for now. Speaking of which, let's change gears a little bit here. We haven't bashed on Coach Colliton in a while, so it seems like we're due. Let's go ahead and vent a little bit. Colliton has made some head-scratching decisions this past week. Well, a few more this past week, let's say. So this is our chance to talk about what recent coaching decision that we are questioning and why. And let's start with Greg.
All right, I'm going to keep it short. The dressing the 7 defensemen and 11 forwards in back-to-back games when there's no need to. You have a taxi squad up with extra. I know you've got COVID guys. But especially to do it in the second game of a back-to-back when you had a healthy Matthew Highmore, there's no reason to. If you need to get your Lucas Carlsons and your these other guys to play, then rotate a guy, give a guy like Duncan Keith the night off after a second and back-to-back. I know we've discussed that he's played better, but give the veteran a night off, whatever. To do that on back to the second half of the back-to-back, and then go ahead and do it a second time in a row, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get that at all. I understand if you're forced to because of injuries, or sometimes teams have to do it for salary cap reasons. Those aren't the case. As far as we all know, there was nothing wrong with Matthew Highmore. He was a healthy scratch those 2 games for an extra defenseman. For a team that can't buy goals right now on a consistent basis, you need more forwards, not less forwards.
So that's your biggest one. Okay, I would say it's a big one that bugged me as well. Shaun, would you agree with that, or do you have another Colliton bash?
It's obviously hard to not agree with that, but I'll give another one. Like we said, that we shouldn't be shy on these. So I do have another here, and I think we collectively were scratching our heads watching this particular game. As I mentioned, I hate losing to the Predators, as most of us do. That shootout loss didn't have to be that way, didn't have to turn out that way. And, I don't know how we all weren't staring at the screen wondering why we were seeing Janmark go out third and for their third and final attempt in a game where they could have closed it out and they could have potentially tied it or won it or at least extended it. Choosing Kubalik I can get behind. Kane obviously makes sense, but Janmark, I don't know. I mean, he's buzzing around in the third. I saw that myself, so perhaps he's getting rewarded for that. But at the same time, I don't know why you're overlooking Strome, Kurashev, Suter, even Hagel at that point. I know that they don't have the same type of experience as Janmark, but these are proven goal scorers at their respective levels of play. Janmark's not really in the same league. So even just to give those kids a chance, I don't know why you would overlook that. So the fact that he chose Janmark as his third and again, final attempt there, I will never understand. I don't know what he was thinking there.
All right. That's a good argument. Brooke, are you with us, or are you having some doggy troubles there?
I was gonna say, I'm sorry, my computer or my laptop charger got stuck under my chair and I couldn't get to it. So sorry if that looked weird.
I thought it was a dog. I thought you were just messing with your dog. Okay,
I know it probably
what is your Colliton bash?
Mine's Shaun. Mine was putting Matthias Janmark as the third shooter. When I saw that, I was like, really? What? Like, okay, I understood the logic of that. He had a goal that game and he was probably feeling it. So, but my other thing is I know that no option for that third spot is necessarily the best option because we're missing DeBrincat and we're kind of missing that. But I don't know. I kind of honestly would have taken anyone but Janmark third there. I don't know. I would have put, like Shaun said, I would have put Suter. I would have put Kurashev. Or I would have put Strome. At first, when I saw Janmark out there, I thought he was Strome. At first, I was like, oh, there's Strome. And then it ended up being Janmark. I really don't understand the logic there. I thought that was really dumb. So that makes me really mad. I don't know if we could have won it if he put a different shooter in there, but I don't agree with that. I think that was wrong.
Even Connor Murphy. Let him get in there.
Yeah, that's
Connor Murphy.
Yeah, really. By that logic.
The Janmark move didn't bother me a ton. Now, if he does it again, I got an issue, but at least I understood the thinking because Janmark did score a breakaway goal on Rene in the second period. So he's a guy that literally scored on a breakaway against this goaltender an hour earlier. It's not, at least I understand where he was coming from, unlike some of the other moves. So that one doesn't drive me up the wall. Now, if he does it again, that he didn't score on a breakaway, then we got a problem.
He'll be in trouble. He'll be in trouble with Greg.
Yes,
okay, so I actually have something else to complain about. I'm not really sure. I don't understand why Colliton has Calvin DeHaan, defenseman, on the power play. Now I understand that everybody is depleted. So you've got DeBrincat and Boquist out, which means Kubalik and Keith moved up from the second power play unit to the first power play unit. And then you've got this ragtag group at the bottom of Pius Suter, Philip Kurashev, and then Janmark as well, but he's filling in for Walmark, who's also out, right? So he's utilizing defenseman Ian Mitchell. Now Mitchell basically is getting a shot at the power play. That I can agree with. I'm actually saying something positive here about Colliton. I like the fact that he's utilizing Mitchell and seeing what he's got out there. But I just really don't understand DeHaan as your fifth guy. To me, I know that it's customary to maybe go with your two defensemen on the second unit, but to me, it's just he's already tasked with lots of 5-on-5 time. A defenseman, Dahan. He's already on the penalty kill. I just think that he's overworked. He was slow. He saw he got his pocket picked, and they almost scored the other way on him. I would go with a fourth forward. I think somebody like Carpenter, although he's out too, or maybe even Hagel. Would be better. Would be better as an option. So we'll see what happens moving forward. He's stuck with Dahan for a couple times now. Granted, those second unit doesn't even get out much on the power play. So, but that's my head scratcher with Colliton. So we did touch on the shootout here a little bit. That was the complaint for Shaun and Brooke. So I just want to talk about the shootout a little bit. Lots of people don't agree with having the shootout be a part of the game. It's not real hockey. It's more of a skills competition. But for the time being, it's here. And it was kind of interesting. It just kind of got me thinking when they did go to the shootout and the choices that they made. So I posed the question to everybody in our preview, who would be your 1-2-3 punch without Taze gone? It's really kind of a harsh reminder that Taze is gone when Taze wasn't there to be the first shooter. So based upon this current lineup, who would you have be your three people? And everybody kind of gave their three guys. I'm going to start with Shaun, because Shaun, you chose Suter, then Kubalik, then Kane third. So I guess my question is, why that? Why Suter first?
Yeah, whether right or wrong, we'll carry the theory here that goalies are weird. And I know I look at the game a little bit differently than some of the time. So this might be one of them, clearly. To me, Suter, obviously, there's not as much of a book on him as there are on the other two. So to me, I'm thinking it's to Chicago's advantage to play with that mystery, since there's so little known on him. Why not let him get out there, confuse matters a little bit, confuse the goalie, not knowing what to expect, and giving a kid a chance to gain some confidence and see what he can do all at the same time. So the reality is, to me, I just thought, why not start it off with some confusion and then see if that can work to Chicago's advantage moving forward throughout the process.
Okay, and then Kane's your third guy. So if you're in a position to win, boom, there you got him right.
That's exactly right.
Okay, all right. Brooke, you chose as your three Kane, then Kubalik, and then Dylan Strome. You were the only one that picked Strome, and I guess I'm just wondering what speaks to you about Strome as in the shootout?
To be honest, he was the first one that came to my brain. I really had a hard time picking that third one because, to be honest, there's not really, like I said before, I don't really think there's a best option for the third right now when we're out with Taze and stuff. But Strome was honestly the first one that came to my mind. I know he can score goals. I don't think he's been good in the shootout as of late, but I don't know. He's the first one that came to my mind, so just go with it.
Well, and he's definitely a good option. I mean, he's one of their top 6 people, and.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, Greg, let's see, who did you pick? You went with Kane, then Kubalik, then Suter, if I'm correct, right? So I guess I'm just wondering, you have Kane in the top spot. Why would you have him go first?
I just think you should have your best shooter go first, because if you score first, it puts less pressure. It takes pressure off of the rest of your shooters, and it puts more pressure on the opposing goaltender to go up 1-0 in a 3-round shootout. That role was Jonathan Taves, because he was the best shootout scorer they had. Now that he's gone, you just next man up. Best guy goes first. Simple as that.
Okay, that makes sense. I actually went with the same 3 guys, but I went ahead and went with Kubalik first, Kane, and then Suter. And I guess the only reason I really did that is because, Kane has his comfort spot there as the number 2 guy. Kubalik's your hot shooter. So, let him kind of run and gun and see what he can do there. But I think I would definitely go with somebody like Suter before Janmark, because, again, he scored in the Swiss League as well. And he had his hat trick the other night. So see what he's got. So those were my 3 picks. And we'll see. I'm sure there'll be a few other shootouts this season, and it'll be interesting to see. There'll probably be some players back too. I would assume DeBrincat would be kind of in the top spot there if he was in the lineup. So,
is that our new hashtag? going into whenever the Blackhawks go into shootouts, is it going to be anyone but Janmark in that spot? That's my new campaign.
Poor Janmark, because he wasn't a horrible pick.
No, he's not.
I like him. I think he's doing well up there.
He's been really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually playing really, really well.
Very well.
And don't get mad at him. He's not the one that tapped him on the shoulder.
No, I'm not mad at him.
he probably said, "Are you sure about that?" before he stepped on the ice.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, let's move on. Top star of the week. Brooke, actually, we're going to try to do a top star of the week every week. And let's see, last week we had Lankinen. So even though Lankinen could probably give us a run for being the top star again, Brooke chose today. Who'd you choose? Brandon Hagel, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Why don't you go ahead and start and let us know why you chose him as your number one star?
Okay. I'm going to just say this. This is a Brandon Hagel fan account over here. I will not tolerate slander about him in this or on my Twitter timeline. I'm not here for it. But I'm honestly so excited about this guy. I think his potential is sky high. The production's not there. Like, he hasn't scored yet or anything, but he got his first point against Nashville. He seems like he's figuring it out, and I feel like once that comes together, he's going to be a really big scoring threat. And I just love the way he plays. He's feisty, he's competitive, he can win board battles. I mean, I saw when he was put on the penalty kill, didn't he block a big shot? Was that like in the first or second period? But I don't know. I think he's one of those players that you can kind of put anywhere and he can be effective. So I love players like that, and I'm just really excited about him. He's my star of the week. He stands out in every game, I think, that he's played so far.
Okay, I'm going to be Steve Conroy. Congratulations, Brandon Hagel. You're my top star of the week from Brooke.
Yes.
Okay. Greg, who's your number one star this week?
First off, I want to send my condolences to Alex Nylander, who's lost his biggest fan in Chicago. It was a nice run, but you've been replaced. What have you done for me lately? I'm gonna go with Kevin Lankinen. I mean, listen, they got 3 out of the 4 points they got this week was pretty much because of his play. This offense is struggling. It's missing a lot of key components. It wasn't that great before this whole little COVID outbreak. So basically, he's going to be the guy that's going to have to carry them on their back until they get some of these guys back. So sticking with the Lankinen pick, he's my top performer.
Shaun, who's your pick?
Yeah, I mean, to me, thankfully, this isn't the same as when I played growing up and they had to spread out the awards to make sure it's fair for everybody. I mean, these are professionals we're talking about, and I'm going to stick with Greg on this and say that Lankinen deserves it again. We all gave it to him last week, and I'm giving it to him again this week. This kid stood on his head. He stopped 98 of 102 shots faced, good for a .961 save percentage. If that's not going to get you star of the week, I don't know what is. Sorry, Brooke. I like Hagel as well, but I got to give the goalies some love where they can get it. And his battle back to beat the Blue Jackets in game 2 of that series was huge. I mean, it gave them a little bit of momentum and it gave them a better result to end the week. So Lankinen's getting it for me.
All right. Well, I'm just going to shake things up a little bit and go with Phil Kurashev for my. And I know that it was the last game that he really played the best. He was promoted to the top line and centered Kane and Janmark. Did really well in that position, earned a goal and an assist. He was 6 of 10 on faceoffs. In the other games, he wasn't as good on the second line, but he's been consistent. There's a lot of potential there. I'm interested to see where things go with him. I think that he's going to progress. He's averaging 14 minutes of ice time, so obviously he's getting those chances. We'll see where it goes. But I've been pretty impressed with him, so I wanted to give him some love.
He looked great.
Rookies.
Oh, he was great.
He's an NHL player. There's no doubt about that. He belongs up here. He's going to stay up here.
Cool, good. So we got some options there for first star. That was fun. All right. Well, before we wrap it up, let's look at the week ahead here. Let's see. It's not going to be easy, guys. The Blackhawks host the Carolina Hurricanes this coming Tuesday and Thursday, and then they travel to Dallas for a Sunday matinee with the Stars. before they then finish up this next Tuesday with their second game set against the Stars. The Hurricanes and the Stars are both no schleps. They're both doing really well. Good teams. Let's see. Right now, the Hurricanes are 5-1 after 2 big recent wins over the Stars themselves, and the Dallas Stars are 4-1-1. Meanwhile, the Blackhawks are hanging in there with 3-4-3 as their record. So it's not going to be easy. We're kind of on a high now from this past win. But what are you guys' thoughts and predictions regarding this upcoming week? Greg?
They're definitely stepping up in weight class here. They're playing arguably 2 of the top 3 teams in the division. These 2 teams in Tampa are probably the easy picks for 3 of the 4 playoff spots. But this team is weird. We've seen it in the last couple of years, where they'll look like garbage against bottom feeders, and then when the top team in the division shows up, all of a sudden they play up to their competition. That being said, I'm not going to predict any kind of points, but if they do get any points in these 3 games, it's going to be because of whoever's in goal. It's going to be goalie wins or goalie points, shootout losses, overtime losses. But my prediction is any points they get this week, it's going to be because of a great goaltending performance by whoever starts.
Okay. Shaun, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to pretty much echo what Greg said in a little bit of a different fashion here. I do think we're going to see them slip a little further away from their recent success, unfortunately. Gail, not to upset you to end the show, I want to make it clear, I don't think that means that they're going to play bad or that I want them to lose. Just to be clear, I just think that these are tough competitors, like Greg said. Ultimately, these are going to be teams battling for the division. Again, like Greg said. So just echoing a lot of his points here, because they were great points and they hit it on the head. On the flip side, optimistically, I'll say that this is necessary for Chicago's youth. Battling against teams like this is going to be key. It's going to be key to see what we can get out of the players like Kurashev, the Hagels, the Lankinens. What can they do when they face higher competition? And some of my predictions earlier on in the season were that, this could be a team, the Blackhawks could be a team where they do upset some teams along the way. So maybe we'll see that. But when it comes to predictions, I'm going to, again, echo what Greg said, sorry to steal all of your answers here, but I don't see many points coming from this. I'm going to predict that they might steal 1 because of an extra time situation, but that's all I'm going to see them getting out of this as far as their record goes.
Okay, Brooke, what are your thoughts?
I really don't like when you guys put me in these type of predicaments. I'm not good at it. I've never been good at it. So I'm always way off, but here's the thing. Carolina to me actually doesn't scare me as much as Dallas does at the moment, because they're very depleted right now as well. So I think maybe that could be more evenly matched, even though I know they've been better, or they are better than we are. But I don't know. Something I think could come out of that one. So I also feel like the Hawks have been playing a little bit better lately. I mean, their passing game has improved. They've looked more organized. Will it translate into goals? Actually, I don't know, but fine. I'll just say we'll split each game. So 4 points. That's the optimist in me. I don't know if that's gonna. I'm kind of like with you guys. I don't think maybe that will happen, but maybe it will. Like I said, I'm always wrong, but what the heck? I'll throw it out there. Split the series, 4 points.
So 2 wins out of the 4 games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. 1 against the Hurricanes and 1 against Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wasn't even really thinking of it in the way of predictions. I think it's going to be a rough road. One game, maybe 1 game. But I think that we'll see Kane look better. I don't know why he's been in a bit of a slump, but I think he'll start playing better, and I'm excited to see Kurashev. I think he'll be centering. We'll see where Hagel's been moving up in the lineup. I think he started in the 3rd line and then 2nd line. Maybe whatever. He's been moving around and moving up, so that'll be exciting to watch. And of course, we'll see what happens in net. So more to follow. Go Hawks! There's game tomorrow night, and we got this every other game, pretty much every other night game going on. So never a dull moment. So that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. As always, Hockey Writers YouTube channel. You can catch us on Facebook. Read our articles on hockeywriters.com. Like, subscribe, follow us, and thanks again for watching.
Group
Talk to you-
therapy next week if this goes really bad.